All right, everyone. Welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan. I'm Ryan. I'm one of the hosts of the show. To my right is a man who unfortunately cost his Seahawks the game on Sunday. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are you doing tonight?
I couldn't block Nick Bosa. What do you want from me? That's what happened. That's what happened. I'm doing all right. I was very disappointed with the Seahawks loss. We'll
Oh,
get into that though. We'll get into that on this show a little bit and also during Seahawks sessions. But other than that, it was a great first week of football. I'm excited to recap some of it with you. And also, we had an amazing weekend. We got to go to a comedy show, and
yeah.
shout out to Dave Landau for giving me the business a little bit at the show. But he said I was a good sport about everything. It was funny. It
Oh,
made
yeah.
me laugh. Made me
Oh, yeah.
laugh.
And we're going to try to revisit and get him on the show on the live stream edition. uh,
Ooh.
in the future. Hopefully, the Lions do better in the next couple of weeks than he did in this game this past week against the Packers. But
Oh
but
man,
no, I'm doing pretty good. You know, it's a beautiful day in New York, man. I mean,
it is.
70s during the day, 40s at night. It's my type of weather. It's my
Yeah,
type of weather. Early September, um, creeping into mid September. Uh,
yeah.
but it's a great day. It's a beautiful day outside. I've had the windows open most of the for from the afternoon on, and it's just been an awesome day. We had an awesome day of football on Sunday, going into Monday. We're gonna talk all about it, about what we noted this week. Last night was our week one edition of Victory Monday. Well, not Victory Monday,
Uh,
but it was not Victory Monday with a grain of salt, because we saw a lot of positives come out of the Jets game from Sunday afternoon. We talked all about it. You can find it in the archives on the YouTube channel and on Facebook and on our Twitter channel. Tonight we're on the Belly Up Sports Twitter channel, but we're also on our Facebook page and our YouTube page, with the replay tomorrow on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I pushed it up to 8 p.m. to making accommodation for our friends at Corner Booth Podcast, because they're recording at 7. Actually, they're going live at 7. So maybe I'll raid their stream and just say hello for a bit during the show. So if you see
nice.
me preoccupied, that's where you know where I'll be. But in the meantime, we're going to get things riggedy rolling here. But we just want to remind you, for the people watching and listening, to follow us on social media. Find us at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also find many of our other podcasts and written articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, our YouTube channel, and on Podbean, which is now where we're hosted. And get notified on Twitter and on YouTube, so you know when shows go live, when clips from the show go up, when the YouTube shorts go up, when show announcements are made as well. So you are properly informed. We got some comments uh, rolling in the comment section already. We'll get to those in just a moment. But we also want to remind you to rate, review, comment on the podcast side. 5-star rating. Leave a review where you can, either on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Good Pods. We could also find our podcast as well. And on the Spotify side, leave a comment. Also, if you're watching on the Belly Up YouTube channel tomorrow, leave us a comment below what you thought of week one. What's your favorite team? What you thought your favorite team did, and who stood out to you, like we're going to talk about tonight. And because we're a live show on Tuesdays at 6:30 ish p.m. Eastern time and 10 a.m. ish on Saturday mornings, again, we're a live show. We want y'all to engage with us during the live show. And Sunday we didn't get to hear this chime, but we need to hear this tune. But Dustin, there's a certain time that we all love and cherish during the show.
It's chime time.
Ish. All right, and our primary topic for this evening, NFL Week 1. It's our review. It did not suck. I mean, it did not disappoint. A lot of good things happen if you're a fan of football, regardless of how your team did. You rejoice in the fact that it was week 1. Finally
Yeah.
here after 200 plus days from February to September. We watched it all. Whether you watch on Red Zone, whether you're watching the game in your regional area. I switched back and forth between the Jets game and Red Zone during that. And then in the 4 o'clock games, which we need more 4 o'clock games, NFL. We need more 4 o'clock games in the 4 o'clock slot. Talked about this ad nauseum. We're going to repeat it. Anywho, we're going to get to what stood out to us in week 1. So I'm going to start with you, Dustin. The most entertaining game from week 1. What did you think?
Oh, well, the most entertaining game, Ryan, is, in my opinion, because it was consistent the whole way. All right. There was a lot of contenders. The Buffalo / versus Baltimore game, that got good late, as did the Bears Vikings. The Vikings didn't get it going until the second half. The Bears had that game in hand. So a few of the games that I would have picked did not make the cut. The most consistently entertaining game for me throughout, from beginning to end, aside from your NFC South matchup, which you were right about heading into the week, is your Jets versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ryan. This had the feel of a prize fight. Both boxers throwing haymakers, and you didn't know who was going to win this game. And I must say, I was very Justin Fields. I won't spend a lot of time going into this game because I know you and Dan recapped it on not Victory Monday, unfortunately for you. But as I said after the game, to kind of comfort you a little bit, that DK catch was fluky as all heck. There's nothing you could do about that. But Aaron Rodgers, he looked good in this game. Say what you want, but he threw for 4 touchdowns. Okay. It was a great performance by him. You got to recognize credit where credit is due. However, Justin Fields is the one that really surprised me in this game. I was vocal about how I was worried in preseason after seeing some of the throws he attempted to make and how bad he missed those throws. But the thing is, he looked great in this game. He was using his legs to extend plays. I believe he rushed for 48 yards. He threw a beautiful 33-yard touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson. Hopefully Garrett Wilson gets unlocked a little bit this year. And he really showed something to me during this game. Now, defensively, obviously, the Jets got to shore some things up. They didn't really pressure Aaron Rodgers. But the other positive you can hang your hat on is that the Jets ran against a normally very stout Steelers rushing defense. Breeze dropped 107 yards on them. Yep. So, I mean, but this game was just back and forth. And I really thought the Jets were going to pull it out. And the Steelers win on a late game kick, and you got to, Chris Boswell, you got to take your hat off to him because that is not an easy stadium to kick in. And he nailed that. What was it? A 60-yarder?
60-yarder.
Yeah, he nailed it, which we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see, Ryan, because I think these K-balls that the NFL has added in for the kickers are going to be kicking long field goals now.
Yeah. We saw a 70-yard field goal in the preseason. Little from the Jaguars hit a 70-yarder against the Steelers in the preseason. The longest, I believe 66 is the longest NFL history. Justin Tucker hit it against the Lions. Granted, it was a bounce ball a few years ago. We're going to see a 70-yard field goal eventually in the NFL. It's going to happen in the regular season. And these K-balls have to be addressed by the competition committee. In regards to the Jets, yes, the defensive line, they ate. 4 sacks on Aaron Rodgers. Will McDonald had 2 sacks, which is encouraging to see. And not all from the spin move that he's got patented. One of them was a complete bull rush. And I love the fact that he gained 15 pounds during the offseason. It was incredible. Sad to see that it was a 60-yard field goal that broke the game. And it's really what really sucks is that Chris Boswell's 2 career highs, 59 and 60. Those 2 field goals were against the Jets.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
He did a 59-yard field goal in 2022. The Jets won that game, and this one was the game winner to beat the Jets, which a lot of people had the Steelers winning this game by much, much more. I mean, the point spread was 3. I think it was 3.5 before kickoff. But I'm proud of how the Jets played. We had there's a lot of positives to take away from this game, and we addressed them last night on Victory Monday. There's a lot of things I got to work on, secondary and linebacker especially. Lots of miscommunication, lots of blown coverage, lots of poor tackling, the dumb penalties. Some of the things that I wouldn't say they're left over from the Saleh era, but they got to be addressed. And I'm hoping that Aaron Glenn holds everybody accountable this week in practice. We see some personnel changes at kick returner especially, and I just want to see what Aaron Glenn does to adjust, and hopefully they get prepared and take it to Buffalo on Sunday. So, but yeah, I mean it's a great game. My game of the week, my most entertaining game. Yeah, I was gonna run the homer alert. Dan and I addressed Jet Steelers last night. I'm gonna go with Buccaneers Falcons. That was my game to watch. The game I was watching from Saturday. And the Falcons get the momentum early. Bijan Robinson in that crazy 50-yard catch and run for a touchdown. You think to yourself, all right, Falcons, maybe they aren't the Falcons from the years past. Maybe they're starting to put it together. Well,
that's what I thought.
That's what you thought.
Yeah.
Not so much. I mean, it was a back and forth game early. The Falcons gave away the momentum in the second quarter. They had a 4th and 1 from Tampa Bay's 47, and Robinson got stuffed at the line, which turnover and downs. Tampa Bay goes down the field. They get a touchdown. They exchange field goals. It's 10-10 game at halftime. And again, more back and forth action. Tampa gets a touchdown. Falcons respond. And later in the game, and then Baker Mayfield gets the game-winning touchdown to Emeka Egbuka. If you had him in your fantasy league, congratulations to you. There's 3 touchdowns on the board for you between Baker Mayfield and Emeka Egbuka, who they were high on when they drafted him, and he's going to be a difference maker for the Buccaneers. So having him and
Mike Evans,
yes,
and Chris Godwin potentially,
and Chris Godwin,
yeah,
that's going to be a heck of a. I mean, when Chris Godwin gets healthy, it's going to be a heck of a tandem at wide receiver.
Yeah,
but 59 seconds remaining. Buccaneers go up by 3. Falcons tried to rally. They got within the Buccaneers 26-yard line. There was a pass play late from the Falcons, and Michael Penix threw this incredible ball on the left side that was heading in the direction of his receiver. And you just see Antoine Winfield just put a licking on this guy. Absolutely light up the receiver that he was going for. That was who was it? It was Casey Washington. And you said that ball he's going in Casey Washington's direction. It looks like it's going to be a catch, and then Antoine Winfield just puts the lumber to him and knocks that ball away. It's incomplete. And it forced a field goal. And Young Hui Koo, who's usually reliable in these situations, unfortunately, he misses wide to the left. And the Buccaneers get a kneel down. Game over. And Buccaneers walk away from Atlanta with a key division win that's going to be important late in the season for both teams, because Atlanta's got to respond. And Tampa Bay's got to keep the momentum going. So, this game was what it was, and it was a very entertaining game. If you're watching on Red Zone, or if you watched from Tampa or Atlanta, shout out to Stacey Morgan from Morgan Man Sports. pretty sure he's going to break down that game later this week on the audio side. Check it out on Billy Up Sports. For the biggest upset, we're moving on to the biggest upset, and I'm going to go with the Raiders over the Patriots. The Patriots were favored in this game. It was in Foxborough. The Raiders had not won in Foxborough in the regular season since 1994. You know who was head coach of the Raiders in 1994?
Art Shell?
Yes, Art Shell.
Yeah!
There it is. Look at that. You win a prize, and which I forgot to give you on Saturday night.
Oh, no. Well, and it's my fault, too. I had to rush home for reasons. But and they may have been reasons similar as to why DK was carted off the field the few years ago,
or why that Calgary Flame had to go to the back, and one of the suitors had answered the question why he went to the back.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Maybe you had to take a anywho. I didn't expect much of the Raiders in this game. This team has a mishmash of older veteran players and younger guys. But to my surprise, Pete Carroll, much to the chagrin of Mr. Dan Cruz, who's I see in the comments section, he and his staff had the Raiders prepared. They had a solid game plan. Brock Barrows had over 100 yards receiving before he left the game with a knee injury. It sounds like there's really no concern. Looks like he's going to be ready for next week. And Geno Smith, 362 yards passing and a touchdown. On the defensive side of the ball, the Raiders, give him full credit. They took away the Pats' run game. They forced the pass. They forced a lot of passes out of the Patriots. And Mike Vrabel said after the game, we need more balance. Of course, if you have 46 passing attempts by your quarterback, which one of them was an interception, went the other way for the Raiders. Yeah, you're going to need more balance in your offense. So, low scoring game, which it was kind of expected. Although, if you're a Patriots fan, you expected more out of your offense, especially with Drake May as your quarterback, first full season coming in, all the signings they had in the offseason. You wanted to see what this new offense. Well, I wouldn't say new offense. Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, because of course, why the heck not?
He keeps getting a job. As long as New England is in the NFL, he's going to keep getting a job. The guy's a joke.
It's the boys club. It's the boys club of the NFL. He just keeps getting. You keep bringing back the people who brought you the titles from before, with no changes, no new people coming in and out. So. And it's going to be, and the offense is going to be vanilla, just like the ice cream that Daniel Snyder loves. Oh, so much. But that was my biggest upset. Dustin, what was the biggest upset in your mind?
Well,
Sunday?
My biggest upset, and keep in mind, it's week 1. Cut me some slack here, people. But the only game that I would have picked is the game that you picked. And also, I would have picked, had it happened, the Bengals came dangerously close to losing to the Browns. So I was going to be picking that. That was going to be my number one with a bullet. However, the game that I'm going to pick is not so much an upset as more of the way that the team that was beaten was beat. I'm picking the Green Bay Packers win over the Detroit Lions. And it's mostly because the Packers dominated the Lions. There's no other way to say that. And we did not expect this. At least I'll call myself out. I did not expect this from the Detroit Lions. We knew that Micah Parsons would make an impact on defense, which he did. He sacked Jared Goff, but the thing is that the Packers defense was already very good. And with the addition of Micah Parsons, this could be a great unit. It's 1 week. You don't want to overreact, but let me tell you how much the Packers forced the Lions to be one-dimensional. First of all, they sacked Jared Goff 4 times, so they got in his face, and it resulted in, by Jared Goff's recent standards, not a great game for him. He threw a touchdown, he threw an interception, and I think he was 200 and how many yards did he throw for? I wrote it down. It was 225 yards,
Yeah.
which compared to the numbers that he has been putting up in recent years, that's not a very big total. And part of the reason that the Lions were forced to be one-dimensional and try to rely on the pass is because the Packers shut down their run attack. Now, part of it could be the way the game shook out. The Packers fell behind, or the Lions fell behind early, and they had to try to go back. They had to try to come from behind, so you got to rely on the pass to do that. But David Montgomery had 11 carries for 25 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, who is a dynamic running back, he had 9 carries for 19 yards. The Packers completely stopped the run on the Lions. And this was just a dominating performance by the Packers. There's no other way to put it. Jordan Love, he wasn't great in this game, but he was certainly good enough. Josh Jacobs, he only ran for 66 yards and a touchdown. He kept his touchdown streak alive. But I just did not expect this level of domination from the Packers over the Lions, and that's what makes it the biggest upset for me.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the one play by Micah Parsons who got that sack, and his team acted like that, like they won the Super Bowl, like he made the sack to win the Super Bowl. But
Yeah.
it's also a good thing because he, it showed that he's welcome on this team.
Mm-hmm.
He's welcome with open arms, and much to I'm not sure she'll be in here. I'm not sure she'll be in here, Julie from Michigan, much to her chagrin.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how she's doing. Also, the Yankees are playing the Tigers tonight, so it's 3-game set. The Yankees they're spiting me now. I said they would have missed the playoffs in their final baseball edition of the year, and they've won 2 series. They've won their last 2 series, so it's like, hey, good for them. But we'll see if the momentum lasts. But yeah, I mean, good for the Lions, good for the Packers, good for Micah Parsons, good for them for getting the win. Also, they outplayed the Lions. This is a team that this Lions team, Man Campbell, as friend of the show, Jeff Levac likes to say, Man Campbell has his team always biting kneecaps. But unfortunately, in this game, they got their kneecaps bit. The run game was stopped, which forced Jared Goff to throw more. And he went up throwing a pick in this game, which is the biggest difference. And the score doesn't reflect what happened on the field. Like, if you watch this entire game, this Lions team was outplayed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Dan Campbell's going to have them prepared. And like I said in our preview show, I have the Green Bay Packers winning the NFC North because of the way the schedule worked out for the Lions, and that 7 of the first 10 games are against playoff teams from last year. And that includes the Green Bay Packers, who absolutely beat them down. So, it's going to be, let's just see how they react. Week two is approaching. All right, we're moving on from biggest upset to biggest disappointment. Dustin, I'll go ahead and have you lead off here.
All right. Well, I got to pick my own team for this one, and I'll keep some of it. I'll be talking more about it with Dan and Kevin on Seahawks sessions this week. I know. But my biggest disappointment was the Seahawks rushing attack. Okay. A lot could be said about the entire offense because the defense played a good enough game to win that game. And I really thought, I picked it as my upset of the week because I thought they could beat the 49ers. I thought this was a very winnable game. And especially with some of the 49ers injuries that ended up happening. George Kittle left this game. Jawan Jennings left this game as well. So, but Ricky Pearsall got, he ran by Reek Woolen on one play because Reek went for the ball. But that's not the Seahawks rushing attack after such a good preseason. And I know it was preseason, okay? But the Seahawks rushing attack looked unbeatable in the preseason, and the offensive line was opening holes and everything was going well. So did I think they were going to look that dominant? No, but I thought they would do enough to aid Sam Darnold and give the Seahawks offense a real a real two-headed attack here between the run and the pass, but it didn't happen. Charbonnet and Walker combined only generated 3.0 yards per carry, totaling between the two of them for 67 yards on 22 attempts.
Ooh.
That's not great. When
No.
Sam Darnold has your longest run of the game at 9 yards, it's not great.
No,
Okay.
not good when your quarterback has the longest run of the day.
And Sam Darnold, not exactly known for his speedy feet. All right. So that's a problem. And that needs to improve next week, because the Seahawks defense played well enough to win the game. They limited the Niners. They limited Christian McCaffrey for 37 yards in the first half. And I said that to Dan and Kevin, and then promptly he ripped off like a 22-yard run. So I was like, well, I jinxed that. But the Seahawks rushing attack, my biggest disappointment of the week.
All right, my biggest disappointment, the Houston Texans offense. Man, that's so anemic in this game. Defense, they did their part. D'Amico Ryan is always going to have the defense prepared because he's a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
Always going to have them juiced up, always going to have them prepared. They held up their end of the bargain for the most part against a pretty good Rams offense. They kept Kyren Williams in check. No, we still ran for a touchdown, but kept him in check. Kept Matthew Stafford and his 88-year-old back in check. But I will say this though, Puka Nacua. Nobody makes him bleed his own blood. He gets away with it. Had over 100 yards receiving for the Rams after getting popped in the helmet and having a cut over his eye. Comes back into the game. I don't need no bell, like Rocky. But man, this Texan. Enough about the Rams. They did their part. 14-9. It was a low scoring. It was a lower scoring game than I thought it was going to be.
It was, yeah.
Based on the Rams offense and then how the Texans can do. And for a team that had its struggles on offense last year, a lot of it due to injury, some of it due to CJ Stroud and having some struggles in his sophomore season. Again, some of it can be attributed to injury. But this was the first game for CJ Stroud to tell his critics to shut their yaps, because last year's struggles were a distant memory. But here was his final stat line. 19 of 27 for 188 yards, 151 net passing yards. I don't know what that means. It just showed up in the stat line on ESPN. Did he really have 37 yards? Did he lose 37 passing yards? He threw an interception. He was also sacked 3 times. And Rams defensive line, their rush defense, their pass defense, especially the pass rush, they can get after it. We know it from Jared Verse and company. He also had 32 rushing yards. But again, the Texans offense was anemic. And again, I wanted to see how they would respond. I know they're missing Tank Dell. He's going to be out for a couple more weeks while he gets ready for the season. I know they didn't have Joe Mixon, who's their usual running back, and they had Nick Chubb in the backfield.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see if he was going to go to the rejuvenation machine. But again, the Rams defense, give them credit. They did their job. But this Texans offense was terrible. It was terrible. It was not great. It was not the Texans offense we've been used to seeing it with CJ Stroud in the backfield, the explosiveness, the running, using the run to set up the pass. CJ Stroud using his feet to create plays. We weren't used to seeing it in this game. And I'm glad I watched it on Red Zone.
Yeah, that would be a tough watch. There was only a couple games that I think were tougher watches than that one.
Yeah. And so that's the first half. Let's read some comments from the comment section before we take our commercial break for the day. Desi saying Sports Ball NFL Week 1 edition. And Mr. Cruz from the Time to BS podcasting, the BS Express has arrived. Toot toot.
We have a train sound on the show now.
Oh no. Ryan shows up like, "Hi, buddy." Yeah, and he says Kevin's favorite sound in the Seahawks sessions is the BS Express.
Yes.
He's a big train fan, I guess.
He is.
Oh man. He's also saying there's a lot of optimism from the Seahawks side despite the loss. And again, you'll advertise it on you'll address it on Seahawks sessions on Friday. Ding. And she also says the Jets also had a lot of optimism aside from the loss. On the bright side, the Cowboys lost, which is a good thing. Dan Cruz saying the Baltimore Ravens, we choke, so you don't have to.
Man, Derrick Henry, 175 rushing yards, I think, but he had that fumble. He had that. That's tough. That's tough. But he's
a killer.
He's still the man.
169 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I saw the memes online. Derrick Henry's doing this at 31 years old. Good for Derrick Henry. I'm like, Derrick Henry is different. It's built different from every running back in this league. For me to say, oh, he's doing it at 31 years old, I'm like, put me out there at 48 years old, and I'll run for 169 yards. I'll be dead by the time the game's over.
No, he is built differently. He invests a lot into his body. The only running back in the league that maybe works out on his level is Saquon, but Derrick Henry is one of one.
Absolutely. Dan Cruz saying moon balls. I think he was referring to
the kickers.
I always thought he was referring to Justin Fields' absolutely beautiful touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson in the first quarter. He also says Joe Tippmann, what a guard he is. Yeah, he was forced to move the guard. Joe Tippmann was the starting center. Got moved to guard because of Elijah Vera Tucker getting exploding his triceps in a practice drill, a one-on-one practice drill on Tuesday. On 3 days' notice, was playing guard and had Greg Myers at center. So the offensive line performed marvelously, and I'll talk about that in our hot takes, in our hottest takeaway for week 1. It also says the Tom Brady deflated balls. Your brother-in-law Nick saying laces out. Dan saying Chris Boswell looks like a high school janitor or my long-lost brother. Listen, baldness runs in my family. I get it. No need to knock it. Just because you have a beautiful head of hair doesn't mean to knock my lack of hair. And he also says the bright side for all the teams who lost, it's only 1 week. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, he also says, let's play a game. Out of all the Ohio State wideouts drafted in the last 5 years, who's the best out of all of them?
Man, that's going to be tough.
You got Emeka Egbuka, Jackson Smith,
Njigba,
Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. A couple more I'm missing out there.
I got to say, no homerism, obviously. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. ends up the best. I think when all is said and done, he ends up the best of them.
Where's that button?
Uh-oh.
There it is. Homer alert. It'll be
that was no Homer alert. I would have had to pick JSN to be a Homer.
No, those for me. It's for me. I picked
for
Garrett
you.
Wilson.
Yeah. That's a good pick. That's a strong pick there.
Get a couple more comments in here. Spencer checking in saying sports ball. He also says, I was scarred/scared by my Vikings last night. And he also said Brian Flores decided to call defense for the first time in 2 years. Thank God. And of course, Desi's got to chime in because Derrick Henry, former Alabama running back, saying Derrick Henry has been a beast since high school. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take our first and only commercial break. When we come back, we'll go over our most notable performances in week 1 of the NFL, our hottest individual takeaways, and we'll also give you an update on the Cut the Break Cables Pick'em Challenge. All this and more coming up in the next segment of No Credentials Required. Stand by and stay tuned for more No Credentials Required. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets. That's right, folks. SeatGeek. Actually, I should update the commercial because it's not one of our newest partners. It's actually one of our longest running partners at Belly Up Sports. That is SeatGeek. Look, NFL's in full swing. You can find the best prices online at SeatGeek.com. Use their pricing tool. They'll give you the green dots will indicate the best places to spend your money. And it's not only NFL games you can look at for tickets. You can also look at NCAA college football games. You can look at Major League Baseball games. NHL starts pretty soon. And I guess the NBA as well. But again, it's not just sporting events. It's also concerts. It's also comedy shows. It's also musicals. Anything that requires a box office seat. You can find it at SeatGeek.com. And while you're there, you can save a little cash. By entering promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, you get $20 off your order of $50 or more. Again, with promo code BellyUpSports. That's SeatGeek.com, promo code BellyUpSports, $20 off your order of $50 or more. All right, let's talk about our most notable performances for Week 1 of the NFL season, the 2025 NFL season. I'm gonna start off here. I'm gonna give my most notable performance, or as we like to call on Total Football Talk, extra. Shout out Drew Willingham. It's our grand champ, our dog of the week. I'm gonna give it to Travis Etienne, the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was the delayed game of this week, and like I mentioned in my rant on Saturday morning, like Florida teams, Northeast teams, invest in retractable roofs, so there's no more of these lightning delays, please. Like this delay, I think this game was delayed by an hour and 15 minutes because of a lightning delay in the Florida area. And again, this is Florida. This is the most lightning-prone place in the world, particularly in Tampa, but in this case, Jacksonville. You had an hour and 15-minute delay because of the lightning around the area. But it didn't really matter because Travis Etienne had 16 carries for 143 yards, had no touchdowns, but he did gain 8.3 yards per carry, which is really spectacular. Really spectacular effort. It was actually the top rushing effort for the day until Derrick Henry that night.
Yeah.
Went for 169 yards, but his effort contributed to the Jaguars winning the time of possession battle, and them winning the game by a final score of 23-10, I believe. So that's my most notable performance. Dustin, how about you?
Well, for my most notable performance, I have to continue my long tradition of apologizing to people on the show. I've done it to Kyrie Irving. I've done it to many, many people because I get things wrong sometimes. And I was wrong about one Daniel Jones. Now, granted, this is 1 week. I don't necessarily think that this will continue, but he did elevate the Indianapolis offense. He did. He was a positive for Colts wide receivers. Daniel Jones, 22 of 29 passing for 272 yards and 1 passing touchdown. No interceptions for Mr. Jones, which he's been prone to throw some interceptions at times during his career. Oh, and also he had 26 rushing yards for 2 more touchdowns. Daniel Jones had himself a game, and hats off. He's my performance of the week because nobody expected this out of Daniel Jones. People were ripping the Colts all offseason for their quarterback competition, quote unquote. And, Daniel Jones, hats off to him, though, because he had himself a game. It's not his job. It's not his fault that Miami was doing what they did on defense. But Daniel Jones took advantage of what looks to be a bad team, and he played well. And we'll see how this continues, but you got to give credit where credit is due. For week one, Daniel Jones is my guy. He impressed me the most this week.
Yeah, looking at the Colts stat line, they had almost 39 minutes of possession.
They scored on 7 offensive possessions. It's crazy.
All 7 of their possessions, they scored some points, either field goal or touchdown. First drive, 4 minutes 23 seconds. Second drive, 8 minutes 18 seconds. Third drive, 2 minutes 13 seconds. Fourth drive, 6 minutes 46 seconds. That was just the first half.
Yeah.
Only 3 drives in the second half. 3 minutes 49 seconds. They hit the ball once in the third quarter. They had it for 3 minutes and 49 seconds. In the fourth quarter, they completed a 9 minute 16 second drive. And then for their field goal, their final scoring possession of the game, 3 minutes and 58 seconds. You could say one of two things. Either the Colts offense they just want to control the ball for the game, keep the Miami Dolphins offense off the field, because we know what the Dolphins offense is capable of when they're on point.
Mm-hmm.
They were not on point in this game.
No.
And they had first play from scrimmage, or the first drive from scrimmage for the Dolphins. Tua throws an interception. Second drive, fumble. Third drive, punt. Fourth drive, interception. Fifth drive, downs. They didn't score any points until the 3:53 mark of the fourth quarter. And they scored a 2-point conversion. That was it. And that was pretty much it for the Dolphins, because the Colts had the ball for most of that game. But Daniel Jones, I talked about this on my guest appearance on the Back and Guys last month, when Daniel Jones was named starting quarterback that day over Anthony Richardson. That project is a failure there too. They only have him for 1 year, but I wouldn't be shocked if they start the year 4-2 and enter themselves into the conversation for potentially win the AFC South, and also called the AFC South probably the worst division in football.
Yeah.
But hey, Jacksonville had a good performance this week. Texans were meh. Titans took the Broncos to the limit.
Give them
credit, but their offensive line was paper thin when they had chances to take advantage of mistakes by the Broncos. They couldn't put it together, and they let Cam Ward down, 6 sacks over there. So, but yeah, Daniel Jones, heck of a game. If he continues to perform like this, maybe the Colts make some noise this year.
Yeah,
We'll see. All right, our final segment of the night. Actually, our next to second final segment of tonight. Our hottest individual takeaway from week 1 of the season. And I know it's only week 1, but we have a lot of thoughts. And I'm going to have my co-host start. Dustin, your hottest individual takeaway from week 1.
All right. Well, I'm going back to this Dolphins-Colts game, okay? And I know it's low-hanging fruit and people are going to come after me, but I'm taking the low-hanging fruit. The Dolphins' performance was just bad. You want to know how many yards they had total as a team for the first half of that game? 43 first half yards.
Ew.
This is week 1. Okay. You expect some rust. You expect there are some players playing together who haven't really played much before. There are together before. You got to knock the rust off, because the starters really didn't play much in a lot of cases in preseason. It's just week 1. It's why we never want Thursday night football to be a permanent thing in week 1. On last year's show, I petitioned to bring it back to the way it used to be. It used to be that Thursday night football wasn't a thing until after the Thanksgiving games. That's when it started, when it was on NFL Network for the rest of the season. Now, I petitioned to bring it back on Halloween, whatever week Halloween falls on, bring it back. But you expect some rust in week 1. But for the most part, every team looked somewhat competent. Okay, there were some low scoring games, and we like to make fun of the Browns But the Browns almost beat the Bengals, okay? Joe Flacco
Yeah.
looked pretty good. He's 40 years old. And you could see some people surprised for the Browns. That tight end that they drafted, he was very good. And Dylan Gabriel, or not Dylan Gabriel, the running back for the Cleveland Browns, not Judkins, the other one, not Jerome Ford.
Dylan Sampson.
Yes, Dylan Sampson. He looked very good. There were glimpses for the Browns. The Bengals started slow, but they finally got a week 1 win in how many years? The Rams, their offense wasn't really clicking on all cylinders, but their defense showed up to play. The Niners and Seahawks, that was a defensive struggle. Both defenses played well. But this Miami team looked like they'd never played football before. They looked out of sorts. They didn't have anything together. Tyreek and Tua clearly are still at odds with each other. The running game didn't look good. And again, I'm not trying to discredit the Colts, but they made the Colts defense look like world beaters. Now, maybe the Colts defense truly is that. We'll have to see, but I don't think so. I think it was just that the Dolphins were so inept. Credit to, I believe it was Field Yates on the Fantasy Focus podcast on ESPN. He likened the Dolphins offense to maybe that rookie pitcher that comes into baseball. And for the first couple of starts, his first time through the order, he's got 6 strikeouts. He looks electric, but then multiple times through the order, people start to catch up to him. And he said, maybe that's happening with McDaniel's offense. But I mean, this is one of the worst. The Dolphins defense, I knew they were going to be bad. I said, I can't figure out what they're trying to do defensively, but the offense, you expected it to go and look like a competent offense, because in years past, you were able to make the excuse, oh, the offense sputtered out because Tua was not in there. It's 1 week. But this was a horrific performance. The Dolphins looked like they never played football before.
Yeah, and the news just keeps getting worse for the Dolphins, because the story came out today on TMZ through ESPN, or ESPN on ESPN through TMZ. Tyreek Hill's estranged wife has accused him of domestic violence. So,
oh boy!
And I made a bold prediction on Sunday, on either last Tuesday's show or Saturday's show. I said Tyreek Hill's going to be traded somewhere at the trade deadline if the Dolphins slide continues. And if this behavior continues, he could be out of a job altogether. Yeah. He could be unconditionally released. He'll still get paid. He still gets his guaranteed money. But if these court documents are accurate, and he vehemently denies every single charge, accusing his estranged wife of basically a shakedown. But if these are true, you won't see Tyreek Hill in Miami much longer. And at one point, the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel put in Zach Wilson, and every Jets fan was saying this.
I prayed for this and it happened.
I love that meme. Drew McIntyre. Shout out to you, sir. Well, my hottest individual takeaway from week 1, and this stems from the NFL putting on social media there, who should be the Pepsi Zero Sugar Rookie of the Week, and they put up 6 pictures of Bobby Krosky Merritt, RJ Harvey, Mika Ibuka, Dylan Sampson, Tyler Warren, and Demetrius Knight Jr. You know who is missing?
Who's that?
Armand Membou of the New York Jets. And yes, folks, I am indeed going full Homer alert on this hot take. Hottest individual takeaway, because it's not so much for the fact that Armand Membou was left out of Rookie of the Week consideration. Yes, he had some trouble run blocking, overshot, overcommitted on some plays, and let TJ Watt through. But for the most part, no pressures, no quarterback pressures, no quarterback hits, no sacks. He kept TJ Watt in check, and also pancaked the guy. And I was like, oh my God, I need a cigarette, because this was great. But let's talk about the offensive lineman position as a whole, or in fact, the defensive line. We talk about week 1 of the NFL season, and week 1 showed why play in the trenches is such an important aspect of the game we love. We talk about skill positions, the quote skill positions. On the podcast side, I put skill in quotation marks. We talk about quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, defensive back, linebacker, often left out of the so-called quote skill positions of that conversation is offensive and defensive line. Now let me ask you, Dustin, have you ever played center?
I never have.
Okay. Do you know do you know what it takes to play center?
I have no concept of how much it takes to play center.
Okay. I have played center. I've also played tackle, but that was flag football, but still the same concept remains because as a center, it's not just about snapping the ball. You got to recognize what the defense is showing you. You have to call the line audibles. You got to remember who your blocking assignment is all before the snap of the ball. And guards and tackles, they got to do the same thing too. But the center is the key cog of what makes the line run. On the flip side, the defensive linemen, they got to figure out which gap to go to on their assignment before the plays run. They got to figure out when to do a stunt, like when to do their stunts, when to do their curls, their twists, all that stuff. They got to figure all that out again before the snap of the ball. Line play takes more than just physical brawn. It takes more than size, more than strength. It also takes this. Got to use your head. You got to. It's a mental game. It's not just a physical game. It's a mental game as well. And which is why I think linemen, both offensive and defensive linemen, should be considered a skill position because it's so important to the outcome of your game. Like we saw it, I watched it full hand in the Jets game. They got home against Aaron Rodgers 4 times. They could have got him for more sacks if he doesn't throw the ball away. And their line play was important because they only allowed 1 sack, and their offensive line was pushing the ball. They outgained the Steelers by over 100, almost 120 yards in that game. Unfortunately, they lost because of, again, little mistakes here and there they got correct, but line play is just so important in today's game, and I wish more people would consider being a lineman a skill position because again, it's not just about strength, not but size. You got to use your noggin, and they usually say centers and linemen are some of the smartest people in the classroom in college football, and that also applies towards the NFL because you got know a lot of things before even the ball is snapped. Got a comment in the comment section from Sapna. Sports ball! Shout out to her. She was telling me that she and her husband are getting actually her husband especially are getting into football.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, Sapna is not originally from the United States. FYI, if you had FYI, she's originally from the Middle East, and she married an American who is of Indian descent, and her husband's trying. They live in the Midwest. They kind of want to get into sport. They wanted to get into sports, and they checked the Vikings game last night at a local establishment. So I want to
nice.
Give them football a try. I hope they both tune in to our show more often, talk sports, and get some lay of the land on how we talk about sports ball in the United States. All right, before we get out of here, we're going to update you on the Cut the Brake Cables Pick'em Challenge.
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What?
We both had a pretty good week. Again, Cut the Brake Cables is brought to you by Cut the Brake Cables Pick'em Challenge is brought to you by Royal Retros, King of Throwbacks. Visit royalretros.com. Use promo code CREDHEAD for 15% off your order. And you get free shipping for every order of $100 or more. So, Cut the Brake Cables Pick'em Challenge. Dustin and I both had a good week.
We did.
We both nailed a lot of regular picks, as you can see with the green check marks. I got the Bengals and the Colts game right. Dustin got the Cardinals and the Commanders game right. Unfortunately, neither of our upset picks landed. Although for a while, I thought Dustin's was going to land, is going to have a nice 2-point cushion on me. But as it stands, we're both 2-0. We both got 2 points in the both got 2 points in the standings. So right now we are currently even with 17 more weeks to go. It's a long season, folks. It's a long season. But again, the winner of our little contest here will receive a reasonably priced item of their choice on Royal Retros. Again, use promo code CREDHEAD at checkout for 15% off your order. King of Royal Retros, the king of throwbacks, will reveal our picks for week 2 on Saturday.
I like that little, pizzazz you added to it.
On Saturday. But yes, join us Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll reveal our picks. And shameless plug, ding! On Time to BS podcast, episode 266 of Time of BS, going live at 8. So half an hour. We have a schedule now, finally. Congratulations, Dan.
Dan's always working hard. He's always working hard.
Way to go. Good for you. All right. Before we get out of here, we're going to talk about our favorite athletes who are number 64. Actually, and this is off schedule. I forgot to put this in the rundown. I have some gratitude to express to the audience. But yes, before we do that, our favorite athletes to wear number 64. I'm going to lead off here with kind of a odd, I wouldn't say odd pick, but he's again, we're appreciating the offensive linemen in our lives, and Randall McDaniel from Minnesota played with the Minnesota Vikings and with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 1988 to 2001. Athletic freak of a guy. He still holds to this day. He still holds the fastest 100-meter dash time ever recorded among offensive linemen in the NFL at 10.64 seconds, setting this record as a high school senior.
Wow.
In a state track meet, electronically timed. He is an athletic marvel. At 6'3" and 287 pounds, which would be considered light for an offensive lineman in the NFL today. He wouldn't be playing offensive lineman. He would probably be playing tight end.
Yeah.
But he played guard, and he played guard effectively for 14 seasons in the NFL. Is in both the pro and the college football Hall of Fame. 7-time first team All Pro, 12-time Pro Bowler, part of the 1990s All Decade team, part of the 100th anniversary All-Time team in the NFL. Is part of the Minnesota Vikings Ring of Honor, one of the 50 greatest Vikings, consensus All-American in 1987 at Arizona State University, first team All-American in 1986, two-time first team All Pac-10, was also a part of the Rose Bowl champion team for Arizona State in 1986, and just again an athletic marvel, and just a heck of an athlete. Look him up. Absolutely look him up. So that's my number 64. Dustin, how about you?
Well, I see in the comments that Mr. Dan Cruz said Hall of Famer Jerry Kramer with the Packers wore number 64, but I never saw Jerry Kramer play
either. No.
So I can't pick him. And this pick, I got to give a shout out to Ryan. You gave me the assist on this one because I forgot he wore number 64. I remembered he wore 29 at one point, but give it up. Hit the Homer alert button because I'm going with
Homer alert.
a New York Yankees catcher, Francisco Cervelli. Now, Francisco Cervelli, you look at his stats and you're thinking, why are you picking Francisco Cervelli? Well, over the career, Francisco was mostly a backup catcher at his time in New York Yankees, but he always provided a spark plug, right? And the thing about a lot of backup catchers is that they can't really hit all that well. Well,
No.
Francisco Cervelli's career batting average is 268. Last I checked, that's pretty good, especially when you consider the catching position. But what I always remember is Francisco Cervelli, he was better at throwing people out on the base paths than people remember. And he was always extremely fired up and played with a lot of passion. And I always respect people that play with a lot of passion. He went on to play for the Pirates, I believe, for about 5 seasons. He was a key for them.
Yep.
And I think he finished up with Miami and Atlanta.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. But he was like a classic glue guy, just a lot like a clubhouse guy, seemed to really enjoy playing the game. And that's what we want to see from our athletes. They get paid a lot of money to play a game that a lot of them love. And a lot of us would kill to be in that position and very much want to be in that position. So we always like it when our athletes enjoy playing the game that they love. And Francisco Cervelli, shout out to you, sir. My favorite number 64.
Yep. In 2000, it was called up in 2008. Played in 3 games with the Yankees. Appeared in 42 games the next season in 2009 as a backup to Jorge Posada, the legendary Jorge Posada.
Yes.
Hit 298 and also had a 372 slugging percentage, 4 doubles, 28 hits, 11 RBIs. Caught stealing 3 times. No stolen bases. But again, like you said, provide a spark plug, a very effective defensive catcher at times. With the Yankees until 2015, was traded in 2014. 2015 to the Pirates, and was part of a few of their seasons there. When they went to when they were a perennial wild card team. You think, I know you're saying Pittsburgh Pirates in playoffs? What? Yes. In the 2010s, the Pittsburgh Pirates were extremely competitive, and part of me wonders what might have been if that core kind of kept together with AJ Burnett, Andrew McCutchen, Francisco Cervelli. Those teams, they competed. They were a very good team. So yeah, Francisco Cervelli. Yes, he started off his career with the Yankees. He wore number 64 in 2008, switched over to 29, then 17, and then wore number 40 for his final 3 seasons. His final season as a Yankee.
Wow.
In 2000 and for the final season as a Yankee, but he wore primarily number 17 or 29, but he started number 64. So, there we go. Desi, her favorite number 64 is Julio Jones, who wore number 64 in high school when he played for Foley High School. Did not know.
Encyclopedic knowledge here.
And he won Mr. Football in the state of Alabama. And I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop about his time with the Crimson Tide.
I know. Is this going to be the first? Is this going to be the first player that is not associated with the Crimson Tide? We'll have to see.
No, Julio Jones did play for the University of Alabama.
All right. I had forgotten that part.
Then he went on to a prolific career in the NFL. He played with the Falcons.
Yes.
Don't forget, he played with the Falcons and was Matt Ryan's primary receiver for all those years.
Yes.
I believe he finished his career with I want to say the Titans.
Yeah, I think it was the Titans.
Let's do some real-time research.
He was on the Titans at some point, but he also
okay. So Falcons, Titans, Buccaneers, and he finished his career in 2023 with the Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, Desi's saying everyone knows his college and pro career. Yeah, he's heck of a career. 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, part of the 2010s all 2010s team for the Hall of Fame. So
yeah, as he should be.
Absolutely, as he should be. All right, so I forgot to do this on Saturday's edition. Saturday was our 300th episode. I forgot to say something about it.
So did I. I failed you. Because I was like, we should do something for 3.
But if you look at our cover art, I did include Gerard Butler as Leonidas. on the cover.
I did see that.
This is episode 300. But I just want to say just a note of appreciation to our listening audience, to our visual audience for sticking with us for 5 years. We finally made it to episode 300, at least in canon, 300. But there's also the special episodes with different personalities and different recordings, and the Morning Cup episodes, which I tried to bring out in 2021. That didn't work, and other special episodes and interviews. But we've got 300 episodes in the can. This is episode 301. And, when you think of 300, the number 300, a lot of things come to mind. One of them is baseball.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that Paul Molitor, who I got a chance to meet in 2011, outstanding guy. When he went to when he was elected into the Hall of Fame, and during his induction speech, I think he was quoted as saying that it's interesting that for someone who failed 7 out of 10 times every at bat, I get to be recognized. And yeah, I mean, at times this was a struggle. It was a struggle to be motivated to record episodes, especially in the early iterations, the first couple of years. But then Dustin came along. We've been consistent ever since, and now here we are, 5 years, 300 episodes as part of canon. So we want to thank everyone in the listening audience who also always listens on a consistent basis. And we want to thank those of you who are watching on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel, and also live on our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channels as well.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody who tunes in. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in at some point, and thank you to everyone who currently makes us a part of your week. We know how precious your time is, and we love the fact that you allow us to be a part of your weekly routine. Maybe you bring us into your kitchens while you're washing dishes. Maybe you bring us into the weight room when you're working out, or the gym. Maybe you bring us on a walk. Wherever you bring us, thank you to everybody that listens to us live. From my perspective, thank you for anyone who cares what I have to say. Thank you to Ryan for giving me this opportunity and allowing me to come on. We motivate each other to keep recording on a consistent basis. It is not easy. I tuned in to some of the earlier iterations when Ryan was doing this solo. That is not easy work. That is, and he does a lot to make this show go. So give Ryan some love on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, wherever you follow him, or in the comments under one of the videos. But 300 episodes, I'm happy to have been a part of a lot of them. And here's to 300 more. And we hope you keep listening, because we'll keep doing it, because we love to do this.
Yes, absolutely. This is more of a passion than it is about popularity and getting all the monies and all the fame and fortune and all whatever goes along. This is just two dudes talking stuff, talking about the sport they love, the sports they love, the athletes they love, the events that are going on. And it's funny that Dustin was saying, hey, maybe bring us in the kitchen, maybe bring us in the weight room, maybe you're doing choring, like mowing the lawn or whatnot. And I thought to myself, with apologies to Dan Cruz, maybe bring us into the bedroom.
Oh man! Oh.
Kid, I'm just joking. You wouldn't bring us into the bedroom. I mean, come on.
If anyone does that, run. If anyone
there he is.
That, run.
Well done, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you bring us into the bedroom, you're a sick individual. You you need to be checked out. Anywho, and Dan also says, I speak from experience. Solo work does suck, and the Department of BS is grateful to be part of this journey. And Desi saying, we love you guys. She also says it's the highlight of my day. Well, thank you, Desi.
Oh,
we
man,
appreciate you
really
being
nice.
here, being part of the discussion, and being a cred head. You know, we've seen some cred heads come and go. You know, thank you for your loyalty. We appreciate it, and thank you to anyone who's listening, anyone who is watching. We appreciate you. And on that note, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. But before we do that, again, just want to remind you to we're going to gently remind you to follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. And also check out our other podcasts like Time to BS and our written articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, Podbean, and our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube, just so you know when you're notified of live shows, show announcements, show clips, what have you. Just get reminded. That way you're in the know. That's going to do it for this edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need to press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Again, Saturday morning, 10 a.m., we'll review the Thursday night game between Washington and Green Bay. Plus, we'll let you know what we're going to be watching out for in Week 2, the 2025 NFL season. We hope you join us. Have a great week. Talk to you on Saturday morning. Grab a coffee. Tune in with us.
Good night, everybody.